Hello, everyone. My name is Karen Quinn, and I'm the testing mom. And today I am going to take you through the CogAT test and tell you what it's all about, show you what the questions are like, and give you some really good ideas on how to help your child prepare. So let me share my screen and we will go through this. All right, so what is the CogAT or Cognitive Abilities Test? This is a test that's used by many school districts across the country to qualify their kindergarten to 11th graders for their gifted or GATE programs. The test assesses reasoning skills in 3 areas, and these areas are sometimes called batteries. So there's the verbal battery, the nonverbal battery, and the quantitative battery. Within each one of the batteries, there are 3 subtests. So the CogAT has 9 subtests altogether. Now, some schools will give what they call a CogAT screener first. And what that means is they're going to pick one type of question from each one of the batteries, and they pick the analogy questions. So your child will do verbal analogies, nonverbal analogies, and quantitative analogies. And if they meet a certain threshold score on the screener questions, then the students will be allowed to go on and take the entire test. So if your school is giving a screener, that's what they're going to be doing. Now, a lot of schools don't do that, but some do, and you probably will know if your school is giving a screener first. Now, many parents ask us, what score does my child need in order to qualify for the gifted program? And the answer is it's going to depend on what school district you're in, because every school district can set their own cutoff scores for the test. So what does tend to happen is they'll do it something like this often, is they might require a 97th percentile or above on one of the batteries in order to qualify, or if the student makes an overall composite score of anywhere between 94th and 95th, 96th percentile. So if they have a good composite score, they would qualify. But again, you want to check with your own school district because they will have their requirements, and that's where you'll find out what the requirements are for your child. Okay. So now what I want to do is I just want to walk you through what the test is like, what kinds of questions students will have to answer. And before I get into what's on each of the batteries, I just want to point out that the questions are a little bit different for younger kids, kindergarten to 2nd grade. And so I have these on the left. And for students 3rd grade and above, the questions will look more like this. 3rd grade and above, they're going to be reading their own questions, and there's going to be numbers for the math, whereas it's much more picture-based, which is more age-appropriate for the younger children. So here what we're talking about is our verbal battery. And the verbal battery is just looking at your child's aptitude when it comes to words and vocabulary and word concepts, language facility, verbal reasoning skills, and analogy skills. So that's really what this verbal battery is all about. That's what it's assessing. And the first type of question is verbal analogies. And the way those work is there is a relationship between the first 2 items or the first 2 words, and the child has to figure out what that is. And then they need to choose an answer so that the second 2 items have the same relationship. So for example, here we have beg is to plead as ask is to what? Well, beg and plead are synonyms. So we're looking for a synonym for ask, and a synonym for ask is request. So that's going to be our answer. With sentence completion, it's a little different between the younger and the older students. For younger students, they're going to be asked a question, and then there's pictures that they look at, and one of the pictures answers the question, but they need to understand what all the words are in the question. So for example, which would you use if you ripped a garment? And you have to understand what a garment is and maybe what ripped means. and you would know then that the needle and thread is the answer. For older students, what they get is a sentence with one or two words missing. So they need to understand word meanings. They need to understand what is a grammatically correct sentence, that sort of thing. So here we have many people use blank sweeteners instead of sugar. And the answer here is artificial sweeteners instead of sugar. And with verbal classification skills, they're a little bit similar to analogies to a certain extent, in that the child needs to determine what is the same about the first three pictures or the first three words, what brings them together. In this case, they're all fruit, and we want to pick something from the bottom that belongs in the same category as the items on top. And so, of course, cherries would be our answer here. Now here, it's guitar, banjo, harp. They're all instruments. So you might think, oh, well, I'm looking for any other instrument, but we have several instruments here, right? So we have to get a little more specific. These are instruments with strings. So the answer would be the violin, because it's an instrument with strings. That's how you would think that one through. So that's what the verbal battery is like. Now let's look at the quantitative battery. So the quantitative battery has three different types of questions. The first are number analogies. Again, very similar to what we just saw. If you look at, this has 3 tennis rackets and then 1, so we subtracted 2. So if we subtract 2 tennis balls from here, we need 3, and there is our answer. On this side, let's see that we've got 5 to 4, so we subtract 1, 6 to 5, so we subtract 1, and 7 to and 6 would be the answer if we subtracted 1. So that is how the number analogies work. And I just will tell you that this is an incredibly easy one. They do get much, much harder, but I wanted to just give you an easy one so you can just see how the question works. And it's same with all of them. They all do get quite a bit harder, but I want to just really help you understand how each question type works. So for number puzzles, what we have is essentially an equation done with pictures. And the actual test, I think, uses trains. We have boats and trains on our website. So here, what we want is for both sides to equal each other. So how do we make them equal each other? There's 3 boxes here, so there are only 2 here. So what do we put here? So there would be 3 boxes, and that would be this one right here. And on the real test, there's both addition and subtraction number puzzles. For the equations on this side, they will either be more than, less than, or equal to. And that's how you figure out these number puzzles. So in this case, it's 5 plus 4 is 9 plus 7 is 16 is more than 10 plus 5, because that's 15. So 16 is more than 15. All of these would create an answer that would not work. So A is our answer. And with number series, what we have is a rule or a pattern that the child needs to identify. And then they have to tell us what comes next. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. And so this is our answer. And with the number series here, we've got 2, 7, 12, 17, 22. So we can see that we're adding 5 in between each one. Let's see. So the answer, the next one would be 27. And again, these are very easy ones, but I just want you to see they can get much harder. The number series, for example, they can use fractions, they can use multiplication, division, they can use Roman numerals, they can use more than one, it could be plus 10, minus 14. I mean, it can get very complex, but it starts out pretty easy, and then it just gets harder as the grade levels go up. And now let's look at the nonverbal questions, the nonverbal battery. And what we're looking at here is thinking and reasoning using pictures and shapes. There's 3 types of questions, and I will walk you through them. The first are the figure matrices. And again, they're very much like the ones we've been looking at before. what's the relationship between these two? And then we want to create the same relationship here. So here we've got a color change. One thing is happening, the colors are switching places. So here is our answer, colors switch places. In this one, for older students, we have a circle, and then the circle gets cut in half, and then half of it on the left side turns black. So there's more than one thing happening here. It's getting a little bit harder. So what's the answer here? It would be here. We would divide the triangle in half, and the left side would be black. So this one, as the questions go higher in grade level, more changes happen in the analogies. It's not just one change like this one. Now with paper folding, what we have is a diagram of a piece of paper being folded. Hole or holes are punched into the paper, and then you have to determine what it would look like when it was unfolded. And here, this is our answer if we unfold this piece of paper. And you can see it does get a lot harder for older students, more holes getting punched, more folds being made in the paper. So that's how that works. And then finally, we have figure classification. And very much like the other classification questions that we saw, we have 3 figures, and something is the same about them. You have to figure out what that is and then find out what belongs with this. So here we have 5 circles, 3 are black, and they're kind of in this V shape. Okay, so here we're looking for a V shape, 3 black, and that would be B, because none of the others fit that description. So that's going to be our answer. And on this set over here, what this is a common type of figure classification where the figure rotates. And these can be hard to figure out because what they tend to do is they rotate the figure, and then they, so only one of them would work here. And I think that would be B, that would work. The rest of them, they've flipped the figure and rotated it. So it makes it kind of hard. But kids get used to learning, to handling these questions. So that's figure classification. And you can see that it's the same type of question for younger and older kids for the nonverbal battery. The only difference is that the questions for the older students are a little bit harder. So that's how that works. Now, I want to just show you, because a lot of people will ask, how do I teach my child how to do each type of question? There's 9 different types of questions. What do I do? Well, I want to show you kind of how we do it at TestingMom. So what we've done is we've actually gone in and analyzed all the different types of questions that, for each question type, what do you need to know to be able to handle that group of questions? And so one of the things we've seen is that there are 10 different types of analogies that are most common that you're going to see in these types of questions. And actually, it's interesting. It's not just the CogAT that has nonverbal analogies. Almost any cognitive test has them. So you need to know the 10 things that might be happening that you need to look for in order to analyze these questions. So what are they? Okay, the figure stays the same. There's a size change. Maybe it goes from big to small, or maybe small to big. A piece moves or switches places, which is what happens here. There's a color or a shading change. And we actually, saw that on this question right here. There was a color or shading change. A shape change here, which is the edges get rounder. A piece is either taken away, or sometimes a piece is added. In this case, there's a rotation between these 2 pieces. This is a counterclockwise rotation of 90 degrees. In this case, there's a quantity change. We go from 3 to 6. In this case, there's what we call a mirror image or a flip. And sometimes the figure moves horizontally, like this one is. Sometimes it moves vertically up and down. So we have to learn how to understand those. And then there can be 4 or even more shapes put together that create a different shape or a bigger shape. That's what's happening here. So the trick to teaching kids how to handle these nonverbal analogies is to teach them how to really analyze the changes one at a time. So here's an example that has 2 changes in it. And, that's why you want the child to really be able to understand each change. So in this case, we have one shape that gets bigger, the middle shape, and then the 2 on the outside move together and go into the middle of this. So what we're looking for here is for the bigger shape to get bigger, the center shape gets bigger, and these 2 move together on the inside. So D is going to be our answer. That's the answer there. So there's 2 things. So the secret here is just, learn the 10 different types of changes that take place, learn to identify them one at a time by working with easier questions that only have 1 change in them, then work your way up to harder questions. That's how we do it at TestingMom. One of the things I want to point out, if you become a member, and I hope you do, if you go to our on-demand classes and recorded webinars, which I'll show you in a minute, we have webinars on every type of question, and we show you kind of the secret behind the questions, like I just showed you. I actually do a whole hour on nonverbal analogies, but we just did a few minutes on it. But you can see there's a trick or a way of understanding each type of question. And if you understand it, you can show your child how to analyze it and work through each type of question. So that's really what I want you to do. Now, if you work with our tutors, of course, this is what we do. Or if your child takes one of our small group classes, this is what we teach them. But that's something that you can choose to do if you'd like to. Now, here are some questions that parents will ask all the time, and I just wanted to answer them because they might be on your mind. One is, what is a good prep plan to follow? And what I always tell people is it really depends on how much time you have. If you suddenly found out that your child is going to be taking this test next week, then all you want to do is familiarize them with each of the 9 types of questions so that they understand what to do when they see them, and they kind of understand how to think them through a little bit, because you just don't want them seeing questions like that for the very first time on a test that, is so important. Now, if you have time, if you can, have months or weeks at least to get ready, going more slowly and methodically is the best way, because kids just don't respond very well to cramming. So if you have time, go very slowly, work through each question type. But what you want to do, the first thing you do want to do is assess your child. If you're working with the website, you can easily do that. Just give them a few of each type of question, maybe an easy, medium, and hard one, and just kind of see how they do. And you'll see, where are they strong, where are they weak. When we're tutoring kids, that's the first thing we do, is we figure out, what we really need to work on, and we focus on the weaknesses, trying to bring those up. We do give you your kids homework when we tutor, and you can help them with the homework, or you can work with them on the things they're really strong on, but we do try to focus on weaknesses. So that's just something that you can do as well. Now, how long should I practice every day? How long should my child practice? Again, it's going to depend on how much time you have before the test. How much work does your child need? If they're really good at everything, you may not need to do too much. If they really aren't getting them right, you may need to do quite a lot. And it depends how motivated your child is. So all of those things kind of come into it, but you want to do as much as you can. Even if you just do 15 minutes a day for a period of time, that will make a difference. You just don't want them to walk into the test not knowing what to expect and what to do with different types of questions. People will ask us, how much time do kids get to answer each question? And the answer is, for pre-K to 2nd grade, the test is untimed. And it's usually given in a group, in a classroom. So teachers tend to give students about a minute per question, but they will watch the kids and wait, make sure all the kids have answered, and then move on to the next one. For 3rd grade through high school, students get about 30 seconds a question. When you're first teaching your child how to handle these types of questions, don't even worry about the timing. But if you're getting close to when the test actually is, you might want to try to, do some and have them try to focus on their timing and spending that 30 seconds if they're older on these questions. We're always asked about good score boosting tips, and I will give you a few of my favorites. First of all, my favorite is for a lot of these questions, because it's a cognitive test. Remember, your child's grade level doesn't always matter. They don't do analogies in school, so, or they do very few, put it that way. So, start with questions below your child's grade level if you can, and then work your way up to your child's grade level and let them go beyond if they can do it without feeling frustrated. But starting with the easier questions is very helpful because kids feel more confident. They see that they're getting things right, but also a lot of the questions build on each other, like those analogies we looked at. They start with one change, and then there's two changes, and then as they get harder, there could be three changes. So, start with easier questions and work your way up. That will help a lot. The other thing is work on test taking skills. When we're tutoring, we spend as much time on test taking skills as we do on making sure that they can handle each of the types of questions, because you can lose as many points by making test taking mistakes as you can lose by not understanding what to do with the questions. So, we don't want kids to rush. We want to teach the kids how to, if they have to guess, how to narrow it down to, get rid of the ones that are wrong and just guess between the ones that could be right. We want to make sure they do look at all the answer choices and don't jump at the one that seems right immediately, because that can often be a trick. So we try to teach a lot of that, and we teach it on our website as well. The other thing I always tell people is mix up the tools that you use. Like, don't just give your child question after question after question to answer, or they're going to get bored and they're going to get frustrated and not want to do this. You need to try to keep it fun and interesting. And I'll show you a couple of ways you can mix up your tools. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I want to just actually go to the website and just talk about, why TestingMom, and what we have that I think will be very helpful for you while you're getting your child ready. Okay, so just looking at the website, which is where we are right now, you'll see that one of the things that I think is so great about TestingMom, and of course I'm totally biased because it's my website, but I'm a parent. I developed this for other parents, and I try to give other parents what I needed and what I feel like, what I know you must need too, because I needed it. So we have plenty of practice questions. Like for CogAT, I think we have over 6,000 questions. So you will not run out of questions. That's the first thing. We have questions that you can print out. We have interactive questions. You just go right here to get the interactive questions. And we have more questions than you'll ever need. You can see, and the beauty of this is we give you every grade level. So, if a certain type of question is hard for your child, go back to easier questions like I talked about and work your way up to the harder ones. That's really what you have to do. We have flashcards. You can get those on Amazon as well. Another thing that I want to tell you about, remember when I was talking about keeping it fun for your child? Well, one of the things we do is we create games that your child can play, like an analogy game. There's a folding question game, which, there's folding questions on this test. I'm going to pick a harder, I'll pick third grade. That's about as hard as I can do right now, I think. But let me try one. Okay, so let's look at this question. So it's an animated question. So kids can actually see the animation, and then they have to guess or choose which one is the right answer. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think it might be this one. Let's see.
Fantabulous.
Yay, I got it right. Okay, all right. So let me try another one. Here's another one. So you see there's two folds there. And I believe this is going to be my answer. Let's see.
Awesome.
Awesome. But you know, they can get quite a bit harder. So I just want to say, that's why I always say start with the really easy ones and then just work your way up to these harder ones. Oh no, this one's going to be really hard. Oh my gosh. I'm not even sure if I can answer that. All right, I'm going to do my best. All right, I'm going to just say it's this. Oh, I missed it. Okay, so I need to really practice these. But anyway, so you can see we have games. The games make it a lot of fun for the kids. Whoops, let's see what else we have. The other thing I want to point out to you is, remember when I was talking about over here, I was teaching you how to get your child prepared to take the nonverbal analogies. Well, in our on our website, we have we have all of this content. These are all webinars that we've given about the CogAT. And here you can come find out everything. You can do a whole session on acing each of the quantitative battery, the nonverbal battery, the verbal battery. What are the most common mistakes on the CogAT? You know, whatever you need, we have lots and lots of support and videos that you can watch or that you and your child can watch together, you know, to prepare for that particular test. That's something we offer as well. The other thing we offer is, oops, there we go, is small classes. And so if that's right for your child, your child can take some small classes like on CogAT and be with other kids and learn how to get ready for this test. And finally, the other thing I want to show you is, as a member, you get access to our Skill Building Academy. And these are wonderful learning sites. And you know, the CogAT has a lot of math on it. So your child may need to work on their math skills. They can use Dreambox, MobiMax, they can Mosaic. All of these have wonderful math lessons. Study Island, Reflex Math. There's just a ton, and they can work on their math skills for the test or for school. And Study Island has analogies. There's a lot of vocabulary here under Big Universe. There's a lot here that you get with your membership that will really, you know, help your child prepare for the test. So, you know, I like to say that, you know, we have so much at our site. We really make the preparation fun. You buy one membership, it covers all of your children. It covers every grade level. So, you know, like I was talking about, you can back up to do easier questions or move ahead to do harder ones. You know, you get all the questions. So there's so much value for your money. The Skill Building Academy, just if you were to buy just one of those programs, get a membership in one of those programs, it would cost more than a year of TestingMom. So a lot of value for your money. You get discounts on group classes and on tutoring. We've got those videos on demand. You can call us anytime. We will answer your questions about the test or about what's happening in your school district. We'll do our best to help you. You can get a consult with me if you like, and it's a half price if you're a member. So it's really worth it to join, and I hope you do. So we do care. We are 100% committed to helping your child do their best. Here's an example of just one of the many positive testimonials. We get these all the time from parents, and we love getting them. We really do. Anytime you have a question, you can call us and we will pick up the phone. Well, I mean, I would say maybe 18 out of 24 hours a day, we pick up the phone, or email us and we will help you. So I hope you'll join TestingMom, and I hope this has helped you learn about the CogAT and learn how you can help prepare your child and help them do their best. I hope you'll join because we love having you and we love helping parents and helping children. Thanks.